When it comes to technology, you know what? Two things get me pretty excited. One is the Cisco IP telephone behind me because let's be honest, who doesn't feel more important when they have a Cisco IP telephone sitting on their desk? I mean, come on, it's the epitome of corporate professionalism and an awesome dogfight. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and it's time for another dogfight with two Android phones. Now, I call these high-end phones, but I guess the industry kind of calls these high mid-range phones. One is the Sony Xperia TL. It's available or coming soon to AT&T for $99, and it's packing some pretty nice specs for 100 smackers. A 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU with 13 megapixel camera, NFC, and Android 4.0. Then you have the HTC One S, available on T-Mobile, been out for a while. Since Mobile World Congress, at least when it comes to mobile phones, February is pretty much an eternity, and it's packing a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, an 8 megapixel camera, and Android 4.0 with HTC Sense. Which one's going to come out on top? We'll find out, but first, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. Did you hear it tweet? That's pretty exciting. For use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you walk out working. They help you set up your email, your web, your contact settings, and more. So when you walk out the door with these devices, maybe you'll get both, who knows? When you walk out the door with either device, you'll walk out working. Let's take a look now. Xperia TL, One S, which one is it? We'll find out in the dogfight, which starts right now. Two high-end Android smartphones on two different carriers. One is the Sony Xperia TL. This is coming soon to AT&T, also known as the James Bond phone, because it receives some pretty prominent placement. That's 3 Ps, in the newest James Bond movie, Skyfall, and it's packing some pretty decent specifications to boot, and better yet, it's coming to AT&T for $100 with a 2-year agreement. It's packing a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU, a 4.55-inch display, a 13 megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording. I should mention the display is HD as well, making it even better and even more clear. It's packing Android 4.0, also known as Ice Cream Sandwich, with Sony's Timescape user interface. And then you have this little gem over here, the HTC One S. Now, there's a black one that's coming to T-Mobile, really cool, nice new finish with red accents, and it's coming very soon. You can get it online right now for free. So again, free after rebates. This thing was announced at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona in January, and it's packing a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU. It's got a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED display, an 8 megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording, and HTC's ImageSense technology, a 1,650 milliamp hour non-removable battery over here, and I should point out over here, this one has a 1,850 milliamp hour non-removable battery. Then back to this one, very thin, very light, beautiful metal form factor here, and it's got Android 4.0, also known as Ice Cream Sandwich, with HTC Sense version 4 installed on top of it. So both nice devices on different carriers. This one has 4G LTE capabilities on AT&T. This one has HSPA plus 42 megabits per second capabilities on T-Mobile. Then over here, out of the gate, we'll jump right into this because you've probably seen both of these devices in enough videos, but I'll just say Sony's trying to get back into the US market. This is their attempt with a nice device for the holiday season. Better yet, it's priced at under $100, bringing those sub $100 people into the fray as opposed to those people that want to spend $200 and $300. So it's competitively priced. It's got some nice stuff on it to boot. Down here, right side, micro SD card slot, micro SIM card slot, and micro SD card slot. Over here, you get your power button, your volume rocker, camera shortcut button, NFC on the back. Up top, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and then micro USB charging port over on the left side, and then of course your camera on the back. Then on the side, you have a micro USB charging port on the left, volume rocker on the right. Nothing down there at the bottom, as you can see, and then 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, power button up top. Non-removable battery, although you can remove this little camera housing, or little thing around the camera, I should say, to access your micro SIM card slot. And then, of course, you have 3 buttons down here at the bottom in typical HTC form with their Android 4.0 handsets. You got back, home, and recent applications. Then down here, back, home, and recent apps, but they're on-screen buttons, so when you power the device off, those buttons go away, and all you get is that AT&T logo down there at the bottom. But Android 4.0 on both of these devices, you know what, we're going to jump right in and take a look at the carrier-installed bloatware on both of these devices. AT&T code scanner over here, family map, and you can see some similar stuff over here with T-Mobile. AT&T Locker, AT&T Navigator, ready to go, smart Wi-Fi, quite a bit of AT&T stuff pre-installed. And unfortunately, using Sony's little easy removal tool, say that 3 times fast. Astro is uninstallable, Office Suite is uninstallable, and then of course Yelp, Speed Test, Quadrant Standard, the things that I've installed are uninstallable as well. That's about it. Other than that, the AT&T stuff is there to stay, unfortunately. And then over here you've got T-Mobile stuff, AT&T 411 and more. I shouldn't say unfortunately, but quite a few people want to uninstall that bloatware that they don't use. Unfortunately, you can't do that on this device. Then over here you have Game Base, like I said, 411 and more. You've got mobile hotspot over on this device, more for me, and then you've got T-Mobile ID, T-Mobile TV, T-Mobile My Account, visual voicemail, and more. And then down here, Where's My Water, and Zenio. So quite a few different applications pre-installed here, and unfortunately you can't remove most of those on the T-Mobile side as well. What you can do is go to frequent and downloads over here in the bottom and see which ones you downloaded and which ones are frequent applications and more. But over here you don't get that, but what you can do is order it by alphabet, by most used, or by recently installed. Now, both of these are running Android 4.0, but the thing I love about Android is they're both running the exact same version of Android, or very similar versions of Android, but because of the user interfaces, they look entirely different. This has Sony's Timescape UI, this has Sense 4.0, and we'll come in here and take a look at just some of the design differences between these various user interfaces. First of all, you're going to see very much a kind of a Sony look and feel over here. If you remember any of the Xperia devices back in the Sony Ericsson days, which I say that like it's a long time ago, but in reality it's not that long ago, you'll recognize this almost immediately. And then over here, you got, device help as well, but you've got some customization choices over here. You'll notice it's a little bit different. When I press and hold the screen, I had the option to change the wallpaper, to change the theme, and then of course to add widgets by pressing and holding and clicking that plus sign right there. And then to the home screen, I can add, let's say Gmail, for example, and I'll do the inbox, and I have no room on this home screen. So what I have to do is come over here to one of my other home screens, press and hold, add there. So unfortunately it doesn't give you the option to go ahead, I should say, and add it and then kind of shift it over to the different home screen. You've got to go to an empty home screen, and then of course from there you can customize, and using some pretty cool little animations there, you can see, change the size as I see fit, though oddly enough those animations stopped right when I started talking about them. Maybe my phone is listening to me, who knows? But of course I have that ability, and then I can come in here and change the theme and the wallpaper. You'll get a plethora of James Bond wallpapers, as you can see here. Skyfall, we're going to change it to that in honor of Skyfall, which comes out tonight at 12 o'clock, or tomorrow morning I should say, at 12 o'clock. So you can change that around and make it as James Bondish as you want it to be. So we'll go into messaging and take a look. And same thing over here with Sense. Beautiful look and feel. Sense has really pared it down, or HTC I should say, has really pared it down with Sense over the years. Sense 3.0, pretty bloaty. Sense 3.5, a little bit better. Sense 4 is even better. You'll notice things like the clock, if you're a diehard HTC fan, much better, much improved with new fonts. You'll notice little things like some of the clock cards have been removed. Little aesthetic things like that really make this device nice. The notifications area is entirely different up here at the top with different colors, and then your dock down here at the bottom is different as well in terms of look and feel. So still apps button in the middle. You can change the shortcuts obviously at the bottom on both of these devices if you see fit. So there's a pretty reasonable level of customization here on both of these units. So I'll bring Chrome out, for example, put calendar in if I want to. Do not want to create a folder. I want to put it right there. And I can bring Chrome right back where I left off. So there's customization choices. Those customization choices, rather, are quite nice. 7 home screens on this device, 5 over here, and of course I can press and hold, and I actually like the widget implementation quite a bit on Sense 4. When you press and hold, it brings up your 7 home screens, so I can kind of scroll through and at a glance, see what I've got. So I've got calendar here, I've got my shortcuts there, I've got some space there it looks like. So what I can do is take bonus apps and plop it right there. And you know what? It's there on that home screen. So I can continue, unlike this one where I kind of have to back out and go back each time. I can keep adding stuff if I want to. I can come in here, and if I've got the space for it, calendar, you know what? We'll add a calendar widget right there. Yeah, why not? And then we'll come over here and go to analog clock. You know what? We'll add an analog clock right there. So you've got the ability to kind of multitask a little bit more. I shouldn't say multitask because that's probably not the best word, but a little bit of an ability to, do stuff without having to go back too far. Now, to go into settings, or to go into the wallpapers, I should say, you want to go to settings and personalize, and you've got some different scenes and skins. So again, HTC really leading the way here with the ability to personalize this device. I can change it to serene, I can change it to aluminum, and I can get more skins if I see fit. And then of course the wallpapers as well here, HTC wallpapers, I can change it to the stock one that we saw at Mobile World Congress, and bam, there it is, changed and ready to go. So it's got a good look and feel to it, and the user interface just continues to get better over here. We'll take a look at messaging on both of these devices because I want to show you the keyboards. This one I've installed myself. It is a stock Android keyboard, stock Jelly Bean keyboard that you can download from Google Play. And so take a look at that if you're interested. But HTC Sense is what comes out of the gate, and they've really improved this keyboard. So some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. But then over here you get a couple of different options. You get Xperia Japanese, Xperia Chinese, the English Xperia keyboard, and then you get Android keyboard as well. So if you want the ice cream sandwich keyboard, it does come out of the gate over here on this device. Here's Sense. And then of course here is the Xperia's keyboard, so we'll say Quick Brown Fox is happy that it is Thursday. Quick Brown Fox is happy that it's Thursday. Really easy to type on, 4.55-inch display, portrait to landscape transitions, nice and fast. Quick Brown Fox is happy that it is, and kind of same thing over here. 4.3-inch display, maybe a little bit harder for some people to type on, but otherwise I found it to be incredibly responsive. Combined with the size, the thin and lightness of this device, or how thin and light it is with the metal, really makes it easy to hold in the hand. But both on the keyboard side, very impressive, and of course there are third-party options as well from Google Play and Swipe, things like that if you want to download those if you're not happy with either keyboard. But in terms of a keyboard test, the slight edge goes to the Xperia. Stay tuned for part 2. We'll talk more about browsing, speed test, camera, and more.